actually started, actually on time, on the day that everything was scheduled. Welcome in, everybody. Episode 83 of Prep Talk Live. I'm Casey with Cascadia Dispatch, and joining me is
not tough.
It's not tough,
Yeah.
Which I was realizing as we were doing the intro. I was like, I may need to make a new intro now because, like, we need to add in you and Bretty, and we need, like, there's a whole different vibe now that we have going on here. So I've got to put that on my to-do list, which is funny given the topic of what we're trying to simplify. But I like to make things complicated. We know this. But joining me this evening is Lisa Sutton's Days of fame, fortune, and canning infamy, I think.
Who stole my fortune?
You know what? I don't know. That's a good question.
We got to get him.
Yeah, we should probably have that conversation. I'm sure that there's somebody in the comments or someone who can try to look that up for you.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there's someone we can figure
Where's
that
the
out.
fortune?
I feel like as I watch the stream and the views and everything else, I feel like most people know who you are, and people are like, "Who is this other?
Who is this other dude?"
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Casey, who are you?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? We're the Fisher Price of prepping over here, or whatever.
Okay.
It's Legos and Funkos and
The bougie prepper.
Yeah, the bougie prepper, the budget prepper. Every once in a while, I have a budget prepping thing.
For the most part, it's bougie.
It's bougie. You know what it is? It's big prep energy. That's what it is.
Big prep energy. There you go.
Big prep energy. I still need to make that. Like, I have the design for the shirt, but I have to, like, print the shirt out.
Okay.
I feel like that's a whole thing. Anyway, welcome, everybody. So we were just talking. You're freezing.
I'm freezing.
Yeah. What's happening in your world?
Yesterday it was 67, 68 degrees. It was beautiful. It was sunshiny. It was freaky because it's February in Michigan, and that should never be the case. Records were broken all over the state for temperatures yesterday. But it made up for it today by dropping 40 plus degrees with high winds and power outages. And I'm freezing to death.
I don't mean to laugh at you freezing to death.
Yes,
That's not the thing. It's the way that it was like, oh, it was 62 and now it's freezing again and we have power outages and everything else. It feels like that is just, it's like the new world we live in. It's like everything that used to be a once in a 10-year thing, once in a 20-year thing is like, nope, now it's just every other Wednesday.
With the exception of the temperatures, the power outages are kind of regular around here. But
okay, is that because of proximity, or is that because, like, I feel like power outages in general would be a thing that is just because you're so far out that, like, it's overhead power lines and they get smushed all the time?
They're all overhead power lines and
Okay.
Energy. Yeah, I have a million opinions and nobody will agree with me. So, hey, we have a short time frame.
Yes.
So no goofing off tonight.
You know what? Yes, ma'am. I'm on top of it. The queen is.
What's the topic tonight?
So the topic, for those of you who are just joining us, usually in these shows, I come up with something usually almost right before the show, and then we go off it. Now Lisa has joined us, and I feel like we have to have things more buttoned up because she's a pro, and we don't want to disappoint her. So today's topic was going to be on ways to simplify as a prepper or as you are preparing, or that sort of a thing. And I was thinking about this because over the weekend I was finally getting some time to clean up the garage, and I have all kinds of stuff in our garage that seemed like a good idea at the time. It seemed like the right prep to have. And then it was, okay, well, I need it in 3 different sizes and 4 different colors. And then there was something new that came out, and then I needed that in 3 different sizes and 4 different. And my wife looks at me and goes, okay, so I'm glad that we have these new backpacks. Do we also need the old backpacks? And I'm like, well, you can never have too many backpacks.
Can you?
Flashlights. You know what? I'm beginning to think, and I hope my wife isn't watching this, I'm beginning to think that we might.
Okay. So you have backpacks. Let's address the backpacks real quick first.
Yeah.
So I'm big on redundancy.
Yeah.
If it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have bug out bags for everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have get home bags for everyone?
Yes.
You have get home bags in all the cars?
Yeah. Usually when we're going somewhere that would require the distance to get home, then we have get home bags.
Okay. That's right. You're in the city, so you live really close to everything, right?
Exactly. So as we're motoring around, usually I have my bag has some extra supplies. My like laptop bag has some stuff.
Okay.
And we do have extra supplies in the car, so that kind of becomes our like base unit if we're
Right.
But
so to answer your question,
yeah, yes, ma'am.
Is anything above and beyond the bug out bags and the get home bags probably unnecessary?
Yeah. So we have a few extras. And usually like I go through these things where I'm like, oh, we're gonna change the bug out bags, or we're gonna change the get home bag, or for example, my wife wanted something that was a little less tactical looking.
Yeah.
For when we're out. So I got ones that are less tactical looking. But then do I also get rid of the ones that are still good and tactical?
No. You know what you can use? You can use one of them for all of your important papers.
Yep.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
You can use one of them for medical supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I like that.
Make yourself a little sticker to put on it, with a Red Cross or something.
I have. Wait a minute, if I can reach them. You're gonna love this. So I had these made from Amazon, and they're little like morale patches, but they have, but you can customize them. So I have ones that are like complete kits for all of that stuff. I have charging stuff for like all of that because I have lots of pouches.
There you go.
So yeah, and then we've got like hygiene ones, and we got all kinds of stuff.
So make the extra backpacks work for you.
I like that idea. Okay. That's fantastic.
Can I solve your next problem?
Sure.
Okay.
Would you like? Okay. Next one was blankets and quilts.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you can.
And I'd say towels too. The big clothy things that can be used for multiple things.
And I'm a huge advocate of not getting rid of them to an extent.
Yep. Okay.
I have excess, but it gets cold here. So to me, it's important, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got, there's only 2 of us here. We sleep in the same bed. How many blankets do you need? You need at least 6. That's how many you need. Okay. And you need, extra towels. But to save space, you can use those, space bags, the sucky space bag,
vacuum bags.
Yeah.
That's
use
fantastic.
those to smush them down so they take up less space. Throw them in one of your backpacks or an extra tote or something like that, and you're good to go.
I love that idea. Also, I love that I have space bags in our garage right now that don't have anything in them.
I just solved problem number 2. Hit me with number 3. Go ahead.
That's why you're the queen of this. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So this one, okay, everyone hold on. Like Tup's not here to, bring some of the, so I'll bring, okay. Like socks and underwear.
Yeah.
So I tend to rotate, especially socks, of like, okay, new socks, and then like they become workout socks, and then they become yard socks. Okay. And then they usually have holes in them or they're whatever, and they disintegrate.
Okay.
So I had a bunch of extra socks, and I was like, okay, well, do I put them in bug out bags? Do I put them in like? Because I have socks in the bug out bags that are.
You want good socks. You want good socks in the bug out bags.
Yeah, so I have that. So I was like, but it's this instinctual like, okay, wait a minute, I have these. I could reuse them. I could repurpose them for something as a prep, but also like, do I really need to? I don't think so. So I had a little bit of an argument with myself.
Well, and I guess it depends. You could, but will you?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's when you need to have a reality check with yourself. And if you could, but you probably won't, then it's time to send them off someplace.
I feel like you are my wife's favorite person today.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's because she's like, how many? I started doing like white T-shirts as kind of like, okay, white T-shirts and a sweatshirt every day. If I'm going to a meeting or I have a video call, okay, I have my business sweater that I put on over top of my white T-shirt, and I take my sweatshirt off and swap them out.
There you go.
But it's white T-shirts and jeans, okay. she's like, how many white t-shirts do you need? And I was like, I don't know. Like,
at least 14.
Yeah, like I've got some, and then whatever I don't need could go in, bags or something. And
well, I'm a big advocate of, I mean, especially with a slim down wardrobe like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go 2 weeks without having to do the laundry.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you have 14 white t-shirts,
yeah.
If you have 14 pairs of socks,
yeah.
If you have 14 pairs of underwear, then you're covered. In
so many ways. In all of the important ways.
The legal ones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, I mean, I'm in Oregon, and we have weird laws.
Yeah, you guys are pretty lenient over there. But
yeah,
no,
exactly.
I do that with Phil, where I'm like, do you need socks? No, I don't need any socks. And so then I finally go, I don't wear socks legitimately. I just don't wear socks. But I'll go through his sock drawer, and I'm like, that one's got a hole in it. Or I catch him throwing some out because they have a hole in them. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go through the sock drawer. I just went through and ordered him 36 pairs of socks. That literally should last him the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's way more than 14.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But, Do you
want me to replay?
Just in case.
Oh, for a second, I thought that was Phil being excited in the background for his new socks.
The deer have been hanging outside our bedroom window, and I think she heard them. But
I was so excited that Phil was joining the pod.
Yeah, no, he's watching TV. But have those extras. When I was when I waitressed and bartended, I wore socks. Mm-hmm. I was on my feet all the time. Yeah. But I made the decision at that point that I had, I'm not kidding, God, I wish I was, 50 pairs of the exact same socks because they're utilitarian. And that way I don't have to match them. I can just throw them in a basket and I'm done, So anything that you can do to cut down on the work and still make it acceptable for your bougie level, then you're good.
I like that. I do the slim down of the, I don't wear fun socks or anything like that. They're all the same. That way I don't have to worry about matching them and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is funny because my wife and my kids love socks. And so all of theirs are a different thing. And I'm like,
oh, yeah, no.
There's a whole lot happening there. But Dad doesn't. Dad just has white socks.
Yeah. So that's one thing you have to worry about. And then if one gets a hole in it, you've got a spare for another pair. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You can swap them out. They're interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Suburban Prepper uses their old socks to clean their rifles.
Yeah. And Terry uses them to clean blinds.
Blinds, yeah.
Old shirts made into bags. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to repurpose stuff.
But will you?
Exactly. And that's my thing is always and this is one of the things I love about therapy when I talk to my therapist about stuff like this, and I'm like, all right, I know. But if there's, let's say we bought a bunch of food for something, and our family has a habit of someone gets an allergy to a food or needs a special thing or whatever. Dad doesn't seem to have any allergies to anything or any aversions to anything except fish. If it came out of the ocean, I don't want to deal with it. But we'll get stuff for the kids or get stuff, and then it'll change. But we already bought it, and it's sitting in the fridge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well then I feel like I need to eat it so that it because we've already spent the money on it. Which going to business school and learning about sunk cost fallacies and all that sort of stuff, you would think I would not be doing that, but I'm like, no, we spent money on it. We have to get the value out of it.
Right.
So I am trying actively to not do that. But then when we come across things like we have 10 blankets that we're swapping around, or we've got new towels, and I'm like, well, we should keep the old towels.
No, keep the old ones because you can use them for so many different things. But put them in their own sucky bag and know where you put them.
Yeah.
So they're taking up less room, but in an emergency, they're available. If you have a dishwasher that decides to start leaking or a washing machine, you know where that sucky bag is. You can grab them and you can start mopping up that mess.
I love that idea.
Thank you.
More importantly, my wife is going to love that I love that idea, because then she's not going to have to ask me what to do about it. We're just going to get it done.
There you go.
Because
so just add it to your list for this weekend.
Exactly.
Instead of buying more stuff that you don't need.
Look, it's all stuff that we need at the moment. It seems like a good idea at the time.
Okay, but if you're busy putting away the stuff that you've already got.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been doing this for a little bit longer than I have. For those of you who are new and who are Sutton's Days people, I'm relatively new to the whole prepping thing. I'm like 6-7 years in on this whole adventure. As I was going through it, I went through a process of finding the things that I thought I liked, and then you try it out, you realize you don't actually need that or you don't want it, and you do something different, and you refine to get to like, it takes 2 or 3 iterations to get where you actually end up.
Yep.
Tup has said that he had a similar journey and all of that. Did you have a similar journey? And if so, what were some of the things that you were like, okay, now I have extra of this, or I need to pare down, and what was your process for that?
No. But I have had a lifetime of being perpetually broke and thus very frugal. So what I have learned over time is sometimes it's better to wait until you can afford to buy the more expensive real one, as opposed to making do with something that you're hobbling together. So sometimes in that case, you are actually saving money by waiting to invest in the more expensive thing. But literally, we have a closet. It's like the only one in the whole house. But we have a closet, and I went in there the other day looking for something, couldn't find it. So we started pulling totes out, and I ran across a box, and that's my box. I have a box filled with camping gear, manual tools, manual kitchen stuff, the teapot that goes on the wood stove, the manual crank wheat grinder, all that kind of stuff that I will not use on a daily basis because I have easier ways to do it. But in an emergency, I have that stuff. I even have one of those little tiny crank it yourself washing machine things.
Really?
Oh, seriously. Okay. But it's sitting in a box in that closet.
You know what? I've seen those, and I was like, this is a great idea. I love this idea. I can never bring this up to anyone because they will think it is too bougie of me to even consider, like, having a manual crank washing machine.
The issue is you can literally wash a pair of jeans. Exactly. They don't hold a lot. So, yeah.
Have you used it yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You didn't even test it out?
No. We found it. Phil, no, I was with him that day. We actually found that at the thrift store.
Oh, okay.
It's like a $50+ piece of machinery, and I don't think we paid $10 for it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, I mean, we know what we're looking for. Mm-hmm. And so when we see it, we grab it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I find having like that kind of big master list either in your head or written down. So when, look, I know that I'm a very bougie person. I get that and everything else. I also spend a lot of time trying to figure out ways to get bougie things on discounts and deals and stacking of all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, this whole podcast thing is just for tax write-offs. I mean, that's the only reason we do it. Just kidding, IRS, you've entered the chat, we understand. But I think that if you have that list, then when you do see something like that and it's not a good deal, you don't have to worry about, do I want it, do I not? Let me think about it, and now it's gone, everything else. You just snap.
Well, it's kind of like sticking stuff in your shopping cart on Amazon, but not pressing go. And when you go, or you're hitting it to save later, and then like a month later, you go flipping through your save later going, why did I save that?
Yes.
And so it's one of those things that you need to take a look at, because a lot of times, let's get back to basics. It depends on what you're prepping for. Okay. Yes. It depends on what you anticipate happening. Do I anticipate the end of the world? Probably not. Is it likely? Yeah. But what I'm anticipating is weather interruptions or power outages or, that kind of thing. Yeah. And so what can make my life easier? A clothesline, little thing to wash clothes if I have to, whatever the case may be. And so you need to figure out what the most likely is and start focusing on that and then build up from there. But you'll find that you don't need all the gizmos and the gadgets. You really don't. Sometimes you need
so much
clothesline.
Well, yeah. I feel like I have a clothesline. I actually have a couple of clotheslines. I just also have a clothesline that's retractable.
Well, those are
I mean, because
those are
that's
cute. Yeah.
yeah,
If you have something to attach it to, you know.
yeah, yeah. And I have lots of different hooky things to because you never know what you're going to attach it to. So
You
does
never.
it need to be a fence? Is it a tree? But like, here's all kinds of
Even
options.
for a fence and a tree, I would just tie a knot and hook it to those.
I mean, also that look, I wasn't a Boy Scout. I don't know knots.
It's not. It's a knot. It's a
Yeah,
knot.
I just tie a basic knot, and it just
Oh my gosh.
Look,
What about skills? Because it doesn't take up any room.
That is true. That is true. That is true. So I would say, I mean, there are lots of places you can find skills, like skills training online, even just YouTube and everything else.
Yep.
We took the CERT course, which is the emergency thing.
Yep.
That was fantastic. I would say that's a good starting point for anybody who's thinking about that, because it also, at least for us, they tailored it to the disasters and the situations that would happen in our area.
Exactly. Right. Darcy from the Purposeful Pantry, who was in here, I'm not sure if she still is.
She is.
She actually was part of the CERT team in her area. So
it's very cool.
Yep. And she says, and I highly recommend everyone take a CERT course in their area.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. They and you get a backpack usually. So I mean, there you go. Like, you're already ahead on the backpack.
She still is. Yep. No, I mean, I finally found out the dates this year for the Sky Watch or the Storm. I don't know what they call it. Anyway, for Storm Watch for the area. So I'm signing Phil and I up to go and take that. It's something I've wanted to do, but normally didn't find out about the class until after it happened.
Yeah.
They're still not really great. Skywarn, thank you. They're still not really great about getting the word out there, but finally found the dates for this year. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go do that.
Yeah.
That's a skill. We're going to get our CPLs this year. That's a skill. We're going to do, we're going to go to
commercial pilot's license.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, very cool.
Concealed carry permit.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. There's CCLs in our area.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait a minute, CPL, you're a pilot? You're a
truck
driver? What are you?
Hell no. Yeah. But so we're going to be working on our shooting this year. We're going to be working on getting our things done this year. I don't know that I've got the wherewithal for Red Cross certs this year. But the sky warning, I definitely want. I would like being part of that because I'm a weather geek. I like it.
Yeah.
But getting out and getting those skills, I'm going to be spending a lot more time outside. So it's my hope that I'm going to learn more about how to do things outdoors. I'm good in the kitchen. Now let's see if I can actually make it happen outside as much as I think. So.
Yeah, if you could just can first aid, I think you would be like.
I'd be golden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of times, if you take a CERT class, at least for us, I think it is on other areas, you take a CERT class, they have a lot of other like emergency learning classes that you can take once you've got the basic CERT thing. So they have they just sent out an alert that it was CPR and Red Cross. They had gotten a grant and they were doing it for anybody who wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But they also have like a wilderness survival or wilderness first aid and ham radio class. So like I got
I want to do the ham radio class. We tried in our book club, we tried learning it on our own.
Yeah.
And I have realized I'm remarkably stupid when it comes to that stuff. So I'm gonna have to sign up for the class and go see if I understand it better through there because I want a ham license really bad.
Yeah. So and I have I don't know if you can see it, but this is my so that's my base unit, and then I've got some handhelds and that sort of stuff. And one of the things I put on the bunker office was an actual antenna to try to hit the repeaters and that sort of thing. So I got a ham license and I've got a concealed license. And we've got the CPR and the first aid things and everything else. I would always advocate for like getting recertified. That's always a good thing. But also, once you've at least learned it once, you're probably better shape than if you didn't ever learn it at all.
Right.
So I think that's a good thing. And then just some basic like woodworking, like I didn't love. Famously, I got a B in wood shop and metal shop, which will surprise no one. That like that was my big B in middle school, and it was because I had to give a speech to the class. And they didn't remind me to we had to spray paint in a certain way, and so the teacher didn't like that. Anyway, but like I feel like I got an understanding of how to use those sorts of tools and how to do basic building,
Right.
plans
Right.
and stuff. And that's one of the things that for our kids I've been trying to find, because they have wood shop in like the high schools.
Yeah.
But they don't have it really in the middle schools or the elementary schools anymore.
No, not normally. Yeah. Oh no, they did when I was growing up. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean they did for me. They had, they had.
It was in middle school. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've been trying to. They have now classes that you can take that are designed for kids that are like a wood shop class and a metal shop class and that sort of stuff. That are beneficial. That we're like, okay, maybe we sign the kids up for that.
Right.
As an extracurricular. But now there's things like also like 3D printing and stuff, which is kind of an interesting, it's one of those interesting things that I keep off to the side of, where my like nerdy Star Trek-y world and everything else come together of, in an emergency, if we had power, I think a lot of people have seen that, like, you can download Wikipedia onto an old cell phone and have that.
Yeah.
Finding materials and designs for basic, connectors, pipe connectors, some of those sorts of things that then, you could produce on a 3D printer if you couldn't get to a store, for example, or something like that. Granted, you would have to have power and you might need, you need a memory card to do it. But I was thinking like, okay, is there a way that you could download all of these kind of basic designs onto something that would then work with that sort of an idea?
See, then you need the materials in order to you need the spools, in order to make. I think that's probably not the most practical way to.
It probably not, but it sounds super fun.
Well, there's fun and then there's practical. Yeah.
That is true. That's fair. That's fair.
We kind of covered streamlining the gear, because if you streamline, and then if you've got extra backpacks, make them go away because they're taking up space that some other prep needs.
Yeah. I think I am outside, but I can hear my wife jumping for joy in the house right now. I just want you to know that. I'm
here.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they're really nice tactical ones, then put them up on Marketplace, sell them for a couple bucks,
Yeah.
But you have to make sure that you're rotating the stuff. You have to make sure that you know what you have, that you inventory it, and that you're making the most use of your space. So shrinking it down and sticking it in totes and labeling said totes and labeling backpacks with the really cool, things that you got for them.
Yeah. How about batteries? Have you gone through there's a lot of people that are like, okay, only rechargeable, only regular, make everything AA, make everything AAA. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because that's a spot where you can end up with tons and tons of different random batteries for things. And
we don't. I mean, for the most part, we use AA and AAA, and more AA than anything. Mm-hmm. We don't use a lot with batteries. Our emergency radios are hand crank.
Mm-hmm.
The flashlights are all like Ryobi. Thank you. So they're all those rechargeable ones. But other than that, it's all hand crank or solar or something like that. Which again, the solar only works so many days out of the year around here.
Right.
But, I don't know. I don't give it much more thought than that. We don't do D's and C's and whatever,
Yeah. Because I grew up and we had all the different batteries.
Oh, God,
you get the thing and then you get the battery for the thing. And then now being in this world for a little while, it's more of wait a minute. You find the battery, it's a battery and you standardize to a battery. You standardize to...
Right. Like the Ryobi. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To a brand or whatever, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. No, and that probably makes it easier. And you have to figure how many things do we have today that are using USB to charge them as opposed to batteries, So it's finding a solar way to do that or an alternative way to be able to do that.
Yeah. And specifically now, even like, is it micro USB? Is it USB-C? Is it Lightning? Is it standard? Yeah, all of that.
Right.
And trying to standardize down off of that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, this has been fantastic. This has been wonderful. Thanks for joining. And my wife is gonna, I think, probably write you like a handwritten note or something.
Hey, I'll take it. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
But I want to hear by next week that you've actually sucky bagged the extra blankets and towels and organized.
You sound like my therapist. You're like, by next week, I want you to do that. Yeah. Yep. I can make that happen for you.
Can you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can. That was a fantastic idea. I love that. Okay. I'm so glad that we can have this.
When we get off the air, can I have your wife's phone number so I can text her and let her know that this is the homework?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, that would. Yes, and she's gonna ask you when is my husband canning, and I'm gonna be like, it's happening.
Yeah, but this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my skill is gonna be that. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, don't hit the thumbs up and everything else. If you're here because you love Sutton's Days. We all know that.
Give Casey some love too, though.
I mean, I appreciate it. But you've probably already subscribed to her channel and everything else, so I'm not going to say to do that. But thumbs up and all that sort of fun stuff. We'll be back next Wednesday. I got an email from Tup. He will be back next Wednesday. I have to bug Brecky from Sustainable Prepping because we haven't seen her in a little while.
No.
And we're now sending out the emails to everybody to join. So it's the roundtable idea when we're all here. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.